Well, thank you so much for doing this today.
Absolutely. I'm glad to. It's good to talk to you.
Absolutely. So, coming off of an amazing song, chart topping My Jesus, and then following up with Sunday sermons, what an incredible song. And our listeners, so excited for our listeners to be hearing it. But I want to know, what is your like favorite Bible verse or maybe a favorite sermon you've ever listened to?
Oh, that's so good. One of my favorite sermons was on Easter Sunday this was a few years ago, but it was just a really powerful sermon about the whole story of the resurrection and how the Lord did that for us. And I remember that being a really important day in my walk with the Lord and my faith, and just being like a really important day of my growth with Jesus. And then my favorite Bible verse is 1 Peter 5:10. And after you have suffered for a little while, the God of all grace will himself confirm, restore, and establish you. And I just remember walking through losing my brother in a car accident. It was 5 years ago. And hearing that verse and just realizing that we will have to go through suffering in this lifetime. But on the other side of that is the Lord will restore us and establish us and confirm us. And I think that's just a really important reminder.
Thank you. So kind of talking a little bit about that for those who don't know your story, how kind of My Jesus and your singing career kind of budded from that time when you lost your brother. You sang at his funeral, but obviously you've had to go through the grieving process. How would you encourage like teenagers or kids right now who are also like grieving the loss of someone they love?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to walk through loss of no matter what age you are. But I think losing someone at a young age, like losing my brother when I was 15, that's really hard. And I think it does something to where it's like they miss all the milestones, they miss all of the important things. And I would just encourage people to cling to the Lord like they never have before. I think when you walk through loss, you have to go to Jesus. There's no other person you can run to, no other thing you can run to other than the Lord. And so I would just encourage them to fix their eyes on the Lord and focus on Jesus and allow him to be their healing, and allow him to honestly, like, worship was my medicine in a sense. Like if I needed to have comfort from losing my brother, I would just go worship the Lord. And there's no other one like Jesus. So run after the Lord as much as you possibly can.
So how was it? So worship was a way that you helped your like it just really helped you to worship God in those times. Were there times
Yeah.
you thought like, I do not want to worship God right now because I am so hurt and I'm in so much pain, but you chose to do it anyway?
There were definitely times where worshiping wasn't easy to do. I don't think there were times where I didn't want to, but there were times where it was just really difficult to just to worship him in that way, and to I think more than anything it was difficult to just kind of like let go of the control and surrender to God in those moments. For me, I'm a planner and I like to control my future and I like to control the outcomes. So I think that was harder than actually sitting down and worshiping the Lord, because I think worship is kind of a form of surrender. And so but I would say there were definitely times where it was difficult to surrender what I was walking through to the Lord. But when I did and I allowed him to come in, I would always feel like this lift, like this weight lifted off my shoulders, and like this healing would come over me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So in reading about like a little bit from your bio, journaling and being in nature give you inspiration or at least help you with the creative process of writing songs. So tell me a little bit about that. Is there a certain place you go to, or maybe like a special journal that you write in?
Yeah, I have a lot of different journals and a lot of different things, but I really like to write just what I'm walking through in life down on paper. Let the Lord kind of give me songwriting inspiration through that. But my granddad owns a farm in Kentucky where I'm from. And so my brother is buried at the farm. So the farm is kind of a place of I really go there. I go there to just feel closer to the Lord, to sit down at the grave and talk to Jacob, and also just talk to the Lord. And I write a lot of songs at the grave. I come up with a lot of song titles and song concepts at the grave. And I feel like that's kind of my spot to go when I'm just so overwhelmed by the world and all the things, is sitting at the grave, talking to Jacob, talking to Jesus, and just opening my journal and allowing God to speak through that.
With your album coming out in the next month, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
How like, just what words do you have, if any, to describe like how incredible it is to start with, My Jesus, and now you're releasing an entire album when you thought you were going to be an astronaut?
I know, it's crazy. Honestly, I'm blown away by God's plan for my life. Looking back, even just a couple years ago, I wouldn't have never dreamed that God would have me where I am today. So I'm very grateful that He has just done everything and just used me to be a vessel for His glory and His kingdom. So I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful. And I think the Lord has a funny sense of humor. And I think it's like He calls you to certain things that you would never think you'd be called to. And He makes a miracle out of your life. And just, He's such a faithful and incredible God. Just very grateful to Him for all the things that He's done. And I'm very grateful for the way that He has just literally called me to music and placed this desire in my heart, but brought it to fruition. And it's been such a incredible journey. It's only been a year. So to think just a year ago, I was just releasing My Jesus, and now to have a full record out it's amazing. So
That's awesome. What was it like to work with some like super huge names in music for your album?
It was so amazing. I always am amazed of the connections and getting to work with people and people that I've looked up to my whole life and in Christian music. And so I worked a lot with Matthew West on this record. He was one of my favorite artists when I was a little girl listening to Christian radio. And so working with him was an absolute dream come true on this record. He wrote, I think, 5 or 6 songs on the record. So he was a big part of the record and the making of it. And it was a really sweet time getting to just work with him and have all this inspiration and to learn from all of these incredible artists that are, well into their careers and have all this experience. And it was just a really cool thing to be able to learn from them and pull inspiration from them.
That's awesome. So like working with like Hillary Scott. Now, did you like grow up listening to country music as well? And then you're like, I'm singing with Hillary Scott.
I did. I grew up listening to country music and Lady A. And so getting to have her feature on a song I can't even describe the feeling, and it's just a dream come true for me. And I'm very, very grateful. And when I found out that she was willing to do it, I was like, this is insane. This is such a cool experience. And just getting to hear her voice on the song and just the way that it all came together was such a cool thing. So I'm really excited for that song. It's called Mamas. And it's crazy to think that our voices are on the same song together. Like, who would have thought, even just 5 years ago. I mean, I was a huge Lady A fan. So just thinking about that and the way that the Lord kind of brought it to a first full circle moment, it's just amazing.
That is so cool. One more question for you. I'm sure when you told your parents, you had this, like, I mean, growing up wanting to be an astronaut, you tell your parents, I'm not going to be an astronaut anymore. God's calling me to music. Like, how did that go? Were you nervous? How did you feel?
Honestly, it was definitely nerve-wracking, but I think my parents have always been very supportive of whatever the Lord calls me to do and leads me in that. So when I told them, I think they were really proud and they were excited. I think my mom was thankful that I was going to go to space, because she was always like terrified of the thought of me going to space and losing me that way, because that is definitely a scary thought. I can't imagine being a parent and having your daughter want to go to space. But I think she was grateful for that. But I think they were just really honestly taken back by the fact that I would want to do music as a living. But it was for the Lord. It's not just music in general. I want to worship the Lord through my music and create songs for Him. So I think they were really understanding of it and very, very, very supportive. And they've been just really excited about the whole journey so far. And they've been really great parents in all of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anne, for your time, and
Absolutely.
really excited to see the rest of your journey.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so good to talk to you.